First contact. The void between stars held secrets untold, darkness punctuated by distant light. Through this emptiness, the Arcadian scout vessel Void Seeker silently traversed, its sleek hull absorbing what little light touched it. Commander Vexterra stood on the bridge, her forearms folded behind her back, twin tails swishing with anticipation. "Status report," she commanded, voice like polished stone. "We are approaching the target system, Commander," replied Navigator Zhen, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. "Yellow star, 8 planets. Preliminary scans show signs of life on the third world." Vexterra nodded, 6 eyes blinking in sequence. This mission was routine. The Arcadian Empire had conquered 3/4 of the galaxy over 10 millennia. They had a process, refined by countless first contacts and subsequent subjugations. "Classification?" she asked. Science Officer Morrill consulted his screens. "Based on electromagnetic emissions and orbital debris, approximately Class D civilization. Pre-interstellar, post-atomic. They'd visited their moon, but haven't established permanent presence beyond their atmosphere." A smile crept across Vexterra's face, revealing rows of needle-like teeth. Class D civilizations were ideal for incorporation into the Empire. Advanced enough to provide useful labor and resources, but not developed enough to mount meaningful resistance. Maintain stealth approach. Standard protocol. Observe for 72 hours, then prepare first contact parameters. The Void Seeker slipped past the gas giants of the outer system, its advanced propulsion leaving no signature that primitive humans could detect. At least that's what they believed. As they approached Mars, alarms suddenly blared across the bridge. "Commander," cried Tactical Officer Krull, "we're being scanned." Vexterra hissed in disbelief. "Impossible. Our stealth systems are impenetrable to Class D technology." "The scan is sophisticated," Krull stammered, mandibles clicking nervously. "It's penetrating our shields as if they weren't there." Before Vexterra could respond, every screen on the bridge flickered and went dark. A moment later, they reactivated, each displaying the same message, in perfect Arcadian script. "Attention Arcadin vessel. UAVENTERED restricted space. Identify yourself and state your purpose or YTHGRAVA. This is your only aim." Stunned silence fell over the bridge. Not only had the humans detected them through supposedly impenetrable stealth technology, but they were also communicating in the Empire's own language. This was unprecedented. "How is this possible?" whispered Vexterra. "Our intelligence indicated they are centuries away from this level of technology." "Commander," Morrill said, voice trembling, "I'm detecting energy signatures throughout the system. They have installations on their moon, Mars, and what appear to be weapon platforms in their asteroid belt." Vexterra straightened, pride momentarily overcoming shock. "Open a channel. Let's see what these primitives think they're doing." The communications officer worked his station, then nodded. "Channel open, Commander." "This is Commander Vexterra of the Imperial Arcadian scout vessel Void Seeker. We are on a peaceful mission of exploration. Your system has been marked for evaluation and potential incorporation into the Arcadian Empire. Do not be alarmed." The transmission cut off mid-sentence, replaced by a human face on the main view screen. The being had dark skin, short gray hair, and eyes that betrayed no fear, only cold calculation. "Commander Vexterra," the human said, her accent flawless, "I am General Maya Chen of Earth Defense Command. Your peaceful intentions are noted and dismissed. We are fully aware of Arcadian protocols regarding incorporation. The conquest of over 3,000 worlds has established a predictable pattern." Vexterra's blood ran cold. How could these humans know such details? The general continued, "Earth is a sovereign world, and will remain so. We have been observing your empire's expansion for centuries. preparing accordingly. This system is off-limits to Arcadian forces. You have two options: depart peacefully or be neutralized. As if to emphasize the point, Tactical Officer Kroll gasped, "Commander, we're being targeted by multiple weapon systems. Energy signatures suggest they are. They are comparable to our own planetary defense arrays." Vexterra's pride demanded she respond with threats, but caution prevailed. "We will withdraw for now, General Chen, but the Empire does not recognize your claim to independence. The Council will be informed of this anomaly." "Inform them well, Commander," Chen replied. "Tell your Emperor that humanity has drawn a line. Earth is not to be crossed. We have watched your kind conquer world after world. We have learned from each of your invasions, studied your tactics, and prepared our defenses specifically to counter your forces. Any aggression will be met with immediate and disproportionate response." With that, the transmission ended. Vexterra stood in stunned silence for several heartbeats. "Plot a course out of the system," she finally ordered. "Maximum speed once we clear their detection range." As the Void Seeker turned and accelerated away from Earth, Vexterra found herself contemplating the impossible. In 10,000 years, no civilization had ever rebuffed the Empire's advances. This should have been a routine mission: observation, classification, preparation for conquest. Instead, they were retreating, outmatched by a supposedly primitive species that somehow possessed technology equal to or greater than their own, and detailed knowledge of Imperial protocols. "Navigator, set course for Imperial Center," she commanded. "The Emperor must hear of this immediately." What Vexterra didn't realize as her ship slipped away was that Earth's orbital defense systems still tracked them, weapons locked and ready to fire at the slightest hint of aggression. And deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a command bunker that had existed since the 1960s, General Chen watched the alien vessel retreat. "They'll be back," she said to her staff. "And not alone." Her second-in-command nodded. "The defensive grid is at full readiness, General. The subspace monitors are active. We'll know when they're coming." Chen's eyes never left the display showing the departing alien ship. "Make sure the Jupiter batteries are charged, and alert the Lunar Command. Phase 2 begins now." Humanity had drawn a line in the stars. The Arcadian Empire was about to learn what happened when they crossed it. The Empire strikes back. The Imperial throne room on Arcadia Prime stretched for nearly a kilometer, its ceiling lost in darkness above. Emperor Xanar VI, supreme ruler of the Arcadian Dominion, sat upon his crystalline throne, 14 advisors arranged in a semicircle before him. Commander Vexterra knelt at the center, completing her report. "And so the humans not only detected our vessel through our stealth systems, but displayed comprehensive knowledge of our protocols and military capabilities." Silence followed her words. Then, unexpectedly, Emperor Xanar began to laugh, the sound echoing through the vast chamber. "A primitive world threatens the Arcadian Empire," he said, his four arms gesturing dismissively. 3 million worlds bow to us. Our fleets number in the thousands, and you retreated because of some orbital defense platforms." Vexterra kept her head bowed. "Supreme Emperor, I believe the humans possess technology far beyond their classification. Their scanning systems penetrated our defenses with ease. They communicated in perfect Arcadian. They—" "Enough." Xanar's voice cut through the chamber like a blade. "Your caution has made you see threats where none exist. Primitive species often bluff when confronted with superior forces." Grand Admiral Ket, the Emperor's most trusted military advisor, stepped forward. "My Emperor, while Commander Vexterra's caution may seem excessive, the discrepancy between our intelligence on Earth and what the Void Seeker encountered warrants investigation." Emperor Xanar's eyes narrowed. "What do you suggest, Admiral?" "A measured response, a battle group to this Earth. Not our main fleet, but enough ships to demonstrate our power and test their defenses. If they truly possess advanced technology, we should know before committing to full conquest." Xanar considered this, tendrils along his neck pulsing with thought. 30 warships should suffice. Show these humans the consequences of defiance. Destroy their largest military installation as a demonstration. Admiral Ket bowed. It will be done, Emperor. I shall lead personally. 2 weeks later, Admiral Ket stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Imperial Judgment, 30 warships in formation around him. Each vessel stretched nearly 5 kilometers from bow to stern, bristling with weapon systems capable of reducing planets to molten slag. We will exit hyperspace near their 6th planet. Ket instructed his captains via holographic projection. Scan the system thoroughly, then proceed to Earth in battle formation. If they resist, destroy their primary military command center. If they surrender, begin immediate occupation procedures. The fleet dropped out of hyperspace with precision, emerging near Saturn in a perfect attack formation. Immediately, sensors began mapping the system. Admiral, called the sensor officer, I'm detecting unusual energy readings throughout the system. Installations on multiple planets and moons, and something in the asteroid belt. Ket frowned. Classification: unknown, sir. The signatures don't match any known technology in our database. Before Chet could respond, communications chimed. Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from the humans. On screen, Ket ordered. The holographic display showed General Chen, the same officer who had addressed Commander Vextera. Admiral Ket, she said without preamble, your reputation precedes you. The Butcher of Antares, the conqueror of the Pleiades cluster. Ket's mandibles clicked in surprise. How did they know his name? His history. You have entered restricted space with a battle fleet, Chen continued. This constitutes an act of war against Earth. You have 5 minutes to reverse course and leave this system, or we will respond accordingly. Ket laughed, recovering his composure. You are in no position to make demands, human. Your world stands alone against the might of the Arcadian Empire. Surrender now, and your species will be permitted to live as subjects. Resist, and we will reduce your cities to ash. Chen's expression remained unchanged. Admiral, we have studied your empire for 300 years. We intercepted your transmissions, analyzed your technology, and prepared our defenses specifically to counter your forces. This is not a negotiation. This is mercy. Leave now. The transmission ended. Ket turned to his second-in-command. Arrogant primitives. All ships, advance on Earth. Weapons hot. Target their orbital platforms first, then their planetary defense systems. The Arcadian fleet moved forward, passing Jupiter's orbit with engines flaring. As they approached the asteroid belt, Ket studied the tactical display with growing unease. Something felt wrong. The humans had made no visible preparations for defense, deployed no ships. Admiral, the sensor officer called, alarm in his voice, energy spike in the asteroid belt. Suddenly, dozens of asteroids throughout the belt began to move, their trajectories shifting with impossible precision. Evasive maneuvers, Ket ordered, but it was too late. The asteroids weren't simply moving. They were accelerating at tremendous speeds, propelled by engines hidden within them. Before the Arcadian ships could react, the first wave struck. These weren't random rocks. They were precisely aimed kinetic weapons. 3 Arcadian cruisers disappeared in blinding explosions as million-ton rocks smashed through their shields at relativistic speeds. The remaining fleet scattered, formation dissolving into chaos. Return fire, Ket screamed. Target those asteroids. The Arcadian ships fired, energy weapons lancing out to vaporize approaching projectiles. But for each one they destroyed, 3 more appeared, launched from hidden bases throughout the belt. As Ket watched in horror, another 5 ships vanished in rapid succession, unable to evade the perfectly calculated asteroid trajectories. Status report, he demanded. 8 ships destroyed, Admiral. 6 more reporting critical damage. Nearly half his fleet, gone in minutes. This was impossible. No Class D civilization should possess this level of strategic coordination or technological capability. A new transmission came through. General Chen again, her face grim. That was a demonstration, Admiral Ket. As you can see, we've weaponized our entire system. Those asteroids are just the first layer of our defense. Would you like to see the second? Before Chet could respond, alarms blared across the bridge. Multiple energy signatures detected from Earth's moon. The tactical officer shouted. From the lunar surface, enormous cannons emerged from hidden bunkers. They fired in perfect synchronization, sending blindingly bright energy beams toward the Arcadian fleet. The beams converged on a single Arcadian destroyer, overwhelming its shields instantly. The ship didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, disintegrated at the molecular level. Impossible, whispered Ket. That's our own phasing technology, but more advanced. We've had centuries to improve upon it, Chen said, still on screen. Your empire has conquered many worlds, Admiral. Did you think none would ever fight back? Did you think no one was watching, learning, preparing? Ket's mind raced. This was no bluff, no primitive defense. Earth had somehow obtained Arcadian technology, studied it, and improved upon it. His fleet was being decimated by weapons the Empire itself had pioneered. All ships, retreat, he ordered. Emergency hyperspace jump. As the remaining vessels attempted to flee, 3 more were destroyed by the lunar cannons. Ket's flagship, the Imperial Judgment, shuddered as a glancing blow from an asteroid fragment breached its outer hull. Admiral, his second-in-command reported. 14 ships report successful hyperspace entry. 11 destroyed. 5 unaccounted for. General Chen's face remained on the view screen. One final demonstration, Admiral. A small object appeared on sensors, launched from Earth. It moved with impossible speed, reaching the Imperial Judgment before defensive systems could target it. Instead of impacting, it attached to the hull, then went silent. What was that? Ket demanded. A final message came from Chen. A gift. When you return to your Emperor, it will activate. Not a weapon, a transmission. Every world in your empire will receive proof of your defeat here today. Every subject species will know that the Arcadian Empire can be beaten. The screen went dark. Ket stood frozen, his mighty fleet in ruins around him. For the first time in his long career, he had been utterly defeated. Worse, it had not been a fair fight. It had been a slaughter, orchestrated by a species the Empire had dismissed as primitives. Set course for Arcadia Prime, he ordered, his voice hollow. The Emperor must be informed. As the battered remnants of the fleet limped away, Earth's defenses remained vigilant. In her command center, General Chen watched them retreat. Phase 2 complete, she announced to her staff. Begin Phase 3 preparations. The Arcadians will return, and when they do, we'll be ready to deliver our final message. A new understanding. Emperor HFY raged, his 14 advisors cowering before him. The throne room, usually a place of dignified politics and subtle power plays, now echoed with screams of fury. Impossible, he roared, smashing a crystalline sculpture with one of his 4 arms. 14 ships from a battle group of 30, defeated by a Class D world. Admiral Ket knelt at the center of the room, his head bowed in shame. The humans possess technology equal to or exceeding our own, Emperor. They have weaponized their entire system. They knew our tactics, our ship capabilities, even our personal histories. A lucky ambush, Xanar spat. Nothing more. High Strategist Vok, the oldest of the Emperor's advisors, stepped forward cautiously. My Emperor, if I may, there is another possibility. Xanar turned his rage toward the ancient strategist. Speak. What if Earth is not what it appears to be? What if they have been deliberately concealing their true capabilities? Perhaps even being helped by someone else. A cold silence fell over the throne room. The implication was clear. Only another spacefaring civilization could have provided humans with such advanced technology and intelligence. Who would dare? Xanar hissed. That is unclear, Vok replied. But consider the precision of their knowledge. They knew our language, our tactics, Admiral Ket's history. This suggests long-term observation. As they debated, a junior officer rushed into the throne room, a breach of protocol that would normally result in immediate execution. The guards moved to seize him, but stopped at his words. Emperor, a transmission is broadcasting across all Imperial channels. We cannot stop it. Throughout the 3 million worlds of the Arcadian Empire, on every communication device, the same message played simultaneously. It showed the destruction of Ket's fleet, Arcadian warships being torn apart by asteroids and disintegrated by energy weapons from Earth's moon. The footage was edited to emphasize the Empire's helplessness against human defenses. Then General Chen's face appeared, speaking in flawless Arcadian. People of the Arcadian Empire, for centuries we have watched your rulers conquer peaceful worlds. We have witnessed the suffering of countless species forced into servitude. Earth stands as proof that resistance is possible. The Empire is not invincible. Remember what you have seen today. The message ended with coordinates, the location of Earth, and a simple statement. For those seeking freedom, Earth extends its hand in alliance. Emperor Xanar watched in stunned silence, then turned to his advisors with cold fury. Prepare the Imperial fleet, all of it. We will obliterate this Earth and make an example of these humans that will be remembered for millennia. 3 months later, the largest armada ever assembled in Arcadian history approached the Sol system. 500 capital ships, 2,000 support vessels, and countless fighters. Emperor Xanar himself commanded from the super-dreadnought Eternal Dominion, a vessel 20 kilometers long with enough firepower to render a planet uninhabitable in minutes. No clever tricks will save them this time, Xanar declared as they prepared to exit hyperspace. We will overwhelm their defenses through sheer numbers. The fleet emerged near Pluto, at the very edge of the solar system, believing the distance would give them time to assess Earth's defenses before engaging. Instead, they found themselves surrounded. Massive structures floated in space around them, space stations the size of small moons, each bristling with weapon systems. And ships, hundreds of them, but not of human design. They represented a dozen different alien architectures, some recognized from worlds the Arcadians had conquered centuries ago. Emperor, the tactical officer reported, voice trembling, those vessels, they're crewed by Thoraxians, Velsu, Quantary, species from our own empire. Before Xanar could respond, a transmission came through. The screen showed General Chen, but she was not alone. Beside her stood representatives of a dozen species, all former victims of Arcadian conquest. Emperor Xanar, Chen said, your arrival was predicted to the minute. Your tactics were anticipated months ago. Look around you. What you see is the alliance of free worlds, founded right here in the Sol system. Impossible, Xanar whispered. Those worlds are under our control. Your control was never absolute, replied a Thoraxian standing beside Chen. For centuries, resistance movements have existed throughout your empire. Earth provided us sanctuary, shared their technology, helped us prepare. This is your final warning, Chen continued. The alliance now encompasses over 300 formerly Arcadian worlds. Rebellions are spreading faster than your forces can suppress them. You have a choice. Retreat now and open diplomatic channels, or face destruction. Emperor Xanar, who had never known defeat in his 2-century rule, found himself paralyzed with indecision. The tactical display showed his fleet surrounded, enemy weapons locked on from all sides. My emperor, his strategic advisor whispered, their position is unassailable. Even with our numbers, we would suffer catastrophic losses. For the first time in his life, Xanar contemplated the unthinkable. Negotiation instead of conquest. Open a channel, he ordered, his voice strained. On the view screen, General Chen waited calmly. What are your terms? Xanar asked, the words like acid in his mouth. The Alliance of Free Worlds recognizes the sovereignty of the Arcadian homeworld and its original colonial systems, Chen replied, clearly reciting pre-prepared terms. All other worlds currently under Arcadian control will be granted self-determination through monitored referendums. The Empire will withdraw its forces from those systems immediately. Non-aggression pacts will be established with all former colony worlds, regardless of their chosen allegiance. And if I refuse? Gunnar challenged, though he already knew the answer. A new figure stepped into view, a human male with gray hair and stern features. I am Admiral Marcus Santiago of Earth Fleet Command. If you refuse, Emperor, we will demonstrate our final defensive capability. Look to your tactical display. The Emperor turned to see a small object approaching his flagship, similar to the device placed on Admiral Ketch's ship months earlier. This is not a simple broadcasting device, Santiago explained. It contains the schematics for a weapon we developed but have never used. A cascade field generator that disrupts the atomic bonds of all matter within a 50-kilometer radius. Your flagship would disintegrate in seconds, along with you and your command staff. Xanar fell silent, the weight of defeat finally settling on his shoulders. The mighty Arcadian Empire, builder of wonders and conqueror of worlds, had met its match in a species it had dismissed as primitives. I will consider your terms, he finally said. You have 12 hours, Emperor, General Chen replied. The Alliance representatives await your decision. As the transmission ended, Xanar turned to his advisors. How did a single world accomplish this? Grand Strategist Vok, who had survived 17 emperors through his wisdom, spoke softly. They did what no other species thought to do. Instead of building weapons when they detected us, they built alliances. Instead of preparing to fight alone, they united the very species we had conquered. A simple strategy, but brilliant in its execution. 3 days later, the Treaty of Sol was signed aboard a neutral space station orbiting Jupiter. The Arcadian Empire formally recognized the Alliance of Free Worlds and agreed to withdraw from hundreds of systems. Emperor Xanar, once ruler of 3 million worlds, now commanded barely 1,000. As the formal proceedings concluded, he approached General Chen privately. You could have destroyed us completely, he said. Why didn't you? Chen studied him for a moment before answering. Because we're not like you, Emperor. Earth didn't build its defenses for conquest. We built them to protect. First ourselves, then others. You have humbled the oldest empire in the galaxy. Xanar replied. What happens now? Now, Chen said, we rebuild, not as conquerors and subjects, but as equals. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us, if we choose to share it. As Xanar returned to his diminished empire, humanity stepped onto the galactic stage, not as conquerors like the Arcadians, but as liberators and alliance builders. Earth had drawn a line, and when the Arcadian Empire crossed it, they didn't just find a world prepared to defend itself. They found a new vision for the galaxy.